here we are with Matt from King Parrot.
Hey.
So for people who doesn't know you, introduce the band.
We're from Australia. We've been around for like maybe like 4 years or something now, and we put our first album out, Bite Your Head Off, back in end of 2012 in Australia, and then it came out internationally in 2013, and then we did our last album, Dead Set, on Housecore Records in America and Agonia Records here in Europe, and we've been touring a lot. Been doing a lot of tours in Australia. We've been doing a lot of tours in North America and Canada, and we're starting to just get our foot in the door here in Europe, and it's been awesome. This tour with Soulfly has been really incredible. So it's very, I don't know, it's a great introduction for us to be here with such an awesome band, playing to big rooms every night. All the rooms are full, and some of the shows are sold out. I think tonight's sold out here in Dresden, so it's been great.
So you play grindcore, thrash, death.
Yeah.
How could you define your style? Like, I don't know, and what are your influences to start playing that kind of music?
I think we try and lend from different influence pools, so we have those elements in our music so that we don't sort of get pigeonholed or put into one certain genre or anything like that. We don't really want to be the sort of band that gets just pigeonholed and this is what you are sort of thing. We want to be just our own band. We're very influenced, obviously, by grindcore and thrash and punk rock. I think definitely our stage persona and the way that we perform live lends itself to punk rock a little bit more, as opposed to metal. But metal's a huge part of our sound, and obviously just influenced by so much different stuff. It's hard to sort of just say, oh yeah, we're just influenced by this or that. But I think for the most part, there's a lot of bands in Australia that we're influenced by, and we hope that really comes across in our sound. We really like to have that Australian sort of sound. And there's a lot of great bands in the 90s in Australia that never really got out internationally. And we're really heavily influenced by bands like that. So we hope that comes across in our sound a little bit as well, and adds to the sort of uniqueness of King Parrot and what King Parrot is.
So you said before you are working with Housecore Records. So how did that start when you signed with them?
We've been friends with Phil and Kate for a long time now. It seems like a long time now. It's been a few years, and we met over at Soundwave Festival in Australia, and then I think that was a few years ago now. And then we toured obviously in America a lot. Went and stayed at their house a few times, and Phil sort of expressed interest to produce our last album, Dead Set. So we went and did that, and we've been out on tour in North America with Down and Superjoint also. So it's just sort of built up the friendship there, and it's been a great opportunity for us to work with someone that's so experienced and has such a wealth of knowledge in extreme music, and having the opportunity to record down at Nodferatu's Lair studio is awesome for us. It's sort of way out of the way in the woods in Louisiana, and it's really just no distractions there, and you can just sort of concentrate and focus on recording, and it's been really cool just to have that opportunity and to work in that way, because I know that's not afforded to a lot of bands playing this sort of music. So it was great for us to just sort of be able to go and record and not have, I think we spent three or 4 weeks or something like that there recording the last album, and just not have any distractions or interruptions or anything like that. Just concentrate on the music and try and get the best result. So
So you are so famous around your live performances, like they are so epic, so great. So how could you say to anyone who never saw you live, what will they find there?
they'll probably get a little bit wet, and no, I think for the most part with our live performance, we just like to put a lot of energy into it. We like to put it like enthusiastic, and there's a lot of it's strange because there's a lot of aggression and intensity, but there's also a lot of humour, and I think that comes with being Australian, and it's just part of who we are. We're not trying to try and be contrived or act in any sort of particular way. We're just being ourselves and putting on the live performance that we would like to see ourselves. So that really comes through in all of us, and we all, there's no sort of rules or any preconceived ideas of like, we're going to do this today, or you're going to wear this today, or whatever. It's just, we just have fun, and that's the most important thing, I think, and we just wear our hearts on our sleeves and just put on that performance that we would love to see ourselves, and that sort of, again, it just comes from many different influence pools, and a lot of punk rock and a lot of metal bands that performed in this way, and people like Rollins and Phil Anselmo and even Gigi Allen a little bit without minus the shit, and people like that are a big influence for me, and I like that sort of taking it to the audience and getting in their face and really making it confronting. That's, to me, that's important. So yeah.
Sure. What about, you talked before about Australian metal scene, and so what about the underground scene there? How is it going nowadays?
It's great. The Australian scene's really good at the moment. There's so many great bands coming through. We've been obviously heavily involved in playing down there, like in our initial forming stages, and so we know a lot of the bands, and a lot of the bands are now branching out and touring overseas, probably more than ever so before, which is just awesome, because it is quite difficult being so far away from the rest of the world to get the money together and get your shit together enough to take 4 or 5 people overseas and get on a tour, and it's just great that so many bands are getting the opportunity to do it now and making such an impact on the international scene. So, but back at home, there's some great bands, and some of those bands will probably never get the chance to tour internationally, and maybe they don't want to or whatnot. But I think, for the most part, the scene in Australia is probably the strongest it's ever been, and it's developed a lot. I've been involved in it since the 1990s, and seen so many great bands from that time, and I mean, not many of them are still around, but there's been a continuation there, and a lot of the same people are still playing in new bands or different bands, and lots of great new young guys coming through as well. So yeah, it's really encouraging time to be part of the Australian metal scene, that's for sure.
Awesome. So you talk about the tour right now with Soulfly. How is the tour going? Are you happy with that? Or?
It's been amazing for us. It's a great introduction for us to Europe, and being out on the road with someone like Max is awesome. He's such a great guy, and been very generous to us. And we've got Lodi Kong and Inside on tour as well, who are all part of the Soulfly family, and obviously the children of Max and Gloria are in those bands, and then there's us as well. So it's really cool. It's great to see how it all works, and it's amazing what they've built with their family. It's very cool, and great to be just out with them and traveling around and seeing all these amazing places in Europe. And we hope that this is just the start for us over here. We did one tour last year in Europe with the band called Weed Eater, and that was only 2 weeks. It was kind of a smaller tour, and we kind of didn't get over to this part of Europe. But we're getting to see a lot more of it with Soulfly, and the show's been incredible. Like, most of the nights have been sold out, and yeah, for the most part, the crowds are just going crazy, and everyone's really enjoying the show. And I think every band on the tour is totally different, so it's a real treat for the people coming along. They get to see 4 completely different bands, all within the heavy
metal genre, of course, but everyone brings something different to the table, and that's really cool.
And I don't know, any wishes for next tour, touring with anyone from Europe, like here, for coming to Europe?
I'm not sure exactly what our plans are yet. I think we're going to go home after this tour. We're going to do some shows in Australia. We've got a few like small festival type things in Australia, and then we'll do some regional shows and get out to some places that we haven't been to in about a year or so in Australia. I think then our plan is to go back to North America for a little while over summer, and then maybe sort of just after summer or something like that, we might get back over to Europe. And I mean, we really would love to spend more time here and travel around. And kind of like North America, there's just so many places to play. And this tour itself has been 36 shows, I think. And we're still like not even getting to half the places. So it's just awesome. It's not like that in Australia. There's only a handful of places that you can play in Australia. And for us to be able to get over here and have the opportunity to do all this stuff is just fantastic. So yeah, we're looking forward to spending more time in Europe, and hopefully the weather will be a bit warmer next time we come.
So are you working on new material, new album, or?
Yeah, we did. Just before this tour kicked off, we spent about 10 days writing some new stuff. We've got about just over half an album written, I think, and then when we get back home to Australia, we're going to try and finish it off and get all the songs done. And yeah, hopefully we're going to try and record sometime later this year, and we'll hopefully have a new record out next year.
Nice. And for finishing the interview, any interesting story to tell to your fans? Or?
Oh wow, we've had lots of. This tour itself has been incredible, really. Like the things that have happened already. Our merchandise guy came over with us, and he was going to do merchandise, and he ended up having to go to hospital in the UK. And one of our roadies has been in hospital as well. He was really unwell, had pneumonia for a little bit, and we've just had all these things happening where like people are just dropping off the tour, and we're just like, what the fuck's going on? And but I think for the most part, it's been pretty cool, and everyone's just been very casual and accommodating to all the bands. And yeah, it's great to be here in Europe, where I think it's unique for Europe itself, whereas everywhere you go, you get treated with great catering, with great food, accommodation, things like that. Whereas like in Australia, they just like throw 6 beers at you and just like, you know, go and play, sort of thing. So it's nice to have that sort of treatment from the people here in Europe. It's very good, and I think the rest of the world should take note and start treating bands like that. That'd be awesome. But you know, it's just great to be here. It's been a great tour, and yeah, we're very grateful to the Soulfly tribe for having us along on this tour. And yeah, hopefully we'll get back here real soon and see you guys again soon.
Sure.
Awesome.
We hope the same. So
Awesome.
see you later at the
Thank
show.
you very much.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate it.